So sorry, team. Not sure what happened to the audio on my original videos, but here's a voiceover. If you hate dubs, I'm so sorry. Cycle 77, Momentum Day A, starting with our typical AMRAPs, but we are splitting pretty much each one on the 30-second mark. Our first minute is going to be jumping jacks. You can give them the option of a step out jack, or if you want to give them something a little bit more intense, because this is going to have a greater stretch on the hamstring, so greater hamstring load, you can give them a toe touch jack. Exercise 2 is going to be high knees. Our goal for that is to keep the knees at hip height. We don't want them going higher because then they can round in the pelvis. You can also give them this alternate option of a side step, bringing the knees still to hip height. Second AMRAP is going to be a side plank. So side 1 for 30 seconds, side 2 for 30 seconds. First option is on knee and elbow, making sure that they're in a straight line, shoulder, hip, knee, making sure that they're squeezing those glutes all the way forward to maintain neutral. You can make either of these options harder by lifting and holding that top leg for that abduction challenge. Either can be on the elbow or on a straight arm. Third minute is going to be a dead stop hold for 30 seconds into a two-hand swing for 30 seconds. So this is a great opportunity to give feedback on that starting position for members who are newer to swings and even our more seasoned members. Throughout this 30-second hold for your dead stop, you're still going 2 feet back, split the difference, loading into the glutes. So you can play around with having them load a little more into their heels, loading a little more into their toes, lifting their hips up or down to try to make sure they are finding the perfect amount of tension between glutes, hamstrings, and quads. After they've done their hold, you can play around with dragging that kettlebell in a little bit more in order to engage the lats, and then they're going right into their two-hand swing, making sure that that bell is tracking above the knees so they're not losing momentum into the ground. They're maintaining the hinge position for a successful and strong swing. Our fourth AMRAP for opener on Momentum Day A is going to be our alternating lateral lunge, and then moving into an inchworm. So alternating lateral lunge, we are actively stepping out here. It's not a lateral split squat. For the inchworm, depending on the size of your space, how many people you have in class, you can have them do it sort of statically in place by just walking their hands out and walking their feet in, standing and turning around. They can also come forward, backward with just the hands. You then can also have them move throughout the space. So figure out what works best for your studio and the amount of members you have in class. For speed and agility, the first exercise is going to be a sprint on any piece of cardio equipment for half of the timer. So whether that's skier, rower, assault runner, have them pick a sprint option and push for half of the time. If you don't have enough equipment or somebody's not comfortable with what you have in the space, you can be creative and use something that will still get their heart rate up, like a swing or a jerk. Second exercise for speed and agility is going to be a cone zigzag skater. So taking off from one leg, landing on the opposite, moving on a diagonal, but keeping shoulders and hips facing forward. So they're not rotating towards the cone, but they're going in this sort of diagonal lateral bound pattern, making sure that they are loading and absorbing that impact as they land. For our power block, we're going to be starting with a double stag jump. All I'm talking about here is if you really want to see the top tier performance of a double stag jump, ask Josiah to do it for you. I am not the one who should be demoing all the jumping, but we also should do things to challenge ourselves. So with this one, your legs are going to be moving in opposite directions as you hit the top of the jump. So you'll see I'm trying to get my legs into a 90-degree angle at the knee in opposite directions. I'll then show you a way you can kind of work into it by doing a staggered stance jump and then gently starting to lift the knees higher and higher as you hit that jump. Just make sure people are feeling comfortable with whatever they're doing. At the end of the day, we want them to get some time of jump here for a plyometric and a tendon load, but a double stag jump is something really fun and unique that we haven't had in any of our past cycles. And if you can try to get them to coordinate their arms, it will look a lot better than whatever I just did. This is where I'm kind of talking about how the legs should be positioned in the air and starting to get people more comfortable by starting at this stagger stance position and kind of jumping and then bending those knees higher and higher as they get more comfortable. The second exercise for the power block is going to be a double thruster. So they can use dumbbells or kettlebells. Because our cornerstone is the kettlebell. We want to try to encourage members to use kettlebells if they feel comfortable and safe with it, but know that they always have the option to do a dumbbell. So for the thruster, you want a full drive from the leg. So it's a full squat into a full overhead, making sure that they are not losing that core engagement throughout. So keeping the rib cage tucked down as they send it overhead. That kettlebell is going to come back to the shoulder, and it's almost like it's hitting a button, and then they're dropping back into that full squat to then hit their next thruster. For our strength block, we're doing a reverse Nordic curl, which can be an assisted exercise as well. So it's also known as a poor man's knee extension. The goal is that you're keeping your glutes squeezed the entire time. So maintaining a neutral position through the lumbopelvic area down all the way to the knee. So nice and neutral. I prefer to have the toes tucked, but you'll see when I show you alternate options that having the toes tucked can not only change the tension you feel across the anterior chain, it can also change the range of motion. So it just depends on your member's ability to go deeper into their knee range of motion, as well as how well they can control the trunk in this position. With the band, I like the band because the little bit of elasticity allows you to kind of lock the arms in and maintain that neutral position, and then let the elastic kind of pull you back to the top. When using the TRX, you will have to extend the elbow slightly and then pull somewhat with the arms. Just make sure that the members aren't making it an only arm exercise and they're still maintaining that neutral position through the lumbar spine into the pelvis, into the femur. We don't want to lose that and have them start to flex at the hip. So this is where I demo with the band, making sure that you're using the elasticity of the band to your advantage to make it an assisted exercise as needed. Second exercise for strength is going to be a lateral raise. So just getting a pair of same size dumbbells. Here we're going with palms down. We want to make sure that they're not flying those arms way above shoulder height. If they are complaining that there's any discomfort or pinching feeling in the shoulder, have them rotate their palms forward so they're leading that lateral raise with the thumb, which is going to help give space to the subacromial area. For our balance and body weight block, we are going into a dragon flag to start. You're going to have them anchor overhead, whether it's on the Queen-X or with a kettlebell. I prefer to hold the kettlebell in this side lying position because then I can kind of lock my hands underneath of the handle to maintain that stability as I perform the dragon flag. It's going to be kind of like a reverse curl up, leading and trying to stamp the feet all the way onto the ceiling, which is an exercise in gymnastics and dance referred to as a candlestick. And then you're going to slowly control the lower body down. The goal is that as you come down, you are trying to bring the hips and the feet to the ground at one time. So I have a little bit more of a challenge trying to get my legs back in line with my hips before my glutes hit. So the goal is that they're coming back down in this sort of more neutral plank after having those legs straight up in the air. You can change this exercise as needed for members by giving them a full roll up or a roll down option, still emphasizing that lower core control and stability. Last exercise is going to be a single leg Bosu balance. A progression for this can be a calf raise, depending on how members choose to correct a balance in single leg. One side versus the other of the Bosu might be more challenging to them. So what I mean by that is some people have a preference of trying to control an off-balance movement with their hip, while others tend to prefer to try to control with the ankle. This is something that they don't necessarily realize. It's something that your body will inherently do. It can also be affected by past ankle sprains or injuries. So just know that if someone finds one side easier than the other, you can always have them flip it over. And then you can always attempt to do that single leg heel raise on either side of the Bosu.